Yeah, Kaye, who is known for speaking his mind on the radio, is criticizing Congressman Rutherford's voting record as liberal and promising to deliver conservative leadership. The primary election is set for August of 2026. Kaye is positioning himself as an outsider candidate seeking to unseat an established incumbent.
And after spending, 20 years here in Jacksonville on the radio every single day, I've built up a little bit of name recognition. So I said, look, I've got the values. I know how the system works.
Jacksonville media personality Mark Kaye says Congressman John Rutherford has strayed from Republican principles, saying Rutherford voted alongside Democrats supporting overseas spending and what he calls controversial military funding. Kaye, who just announced his candidacy for District 5's congressional seat, is drawing parallels to President Donald Trump as someone who entered politics with no political experience.
I'd say Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and his first job in politics was president of the United States. That's the exact opposite of what people want. The only people that want career politicians in politics are career politicians. John Rutherford is a perfect example. This guy was sheriff for a decade and a half, and then he decided, well, what am I going to do now? I guess the only thing I'm qualified to do is go to Washington, D.C., trade some stocks, come back every now and then, not hold a town hall meeting. What we want is real people in office, real people who've spoken to the average American, who know what it's like to have a job, who know what it's like to have a tax burden. Career politicians are no longer the most qualified people. And
Kaye says his platform will focus on what he calls a true American first agenda, promising more accessibility and transparency to his constituents.
So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to meet the people and I'm going to talk to the people and I'm going to do everything John Rutherford doesn't do.
News4Jax political analyst Michael Bender says Kaye attacking Rutherford from the right might be challenging because of Rutherford's established reputation.
You need to build name recognition and start raising money pronto so that you can do mailers, you can get on TV, you can hold events, and you can get people to see you. You can build up the volunteer base. They can get out and knock on doors. This is a very, very difficult challenge, challenging incumbents. That's why a lot of people don't do it. Quality candidates wait for open seats. It's a hard hill to climb.
News4Jax did reach out to Congressman Rutherford and his team for comment today on Kaye's announcement and for a response of what Kaye said, but we have yet to receive a response or a statement. We'll keep you posted.
Don't hold your breath. That's what I tell anyone who reaches out to Congressman Rutherford's office for a statement. Don't hold your breath. I'm still waiting for a statement from a letter I sent them, like 3 years ago. What's up? This is Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, and I appreciate that. Fantastic hit, that little segment with Tarek Miner from WJXT in Jacksonville, Florida. Shout out to them. When you go on the news, you never really know what you're going to get. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. You never know if you're going to get the good stuff or the bad stuff. You never know what kind of mood they're going to be in a fake news mood or are they going to be in a real news mood. And that was a good little segment. Like I said, the interview lasted about 10 to 15 minutes, and I talked a lot more than what they showed. But that 2 minutes, I think, summed it up pretty well. I love that he compared me to President Donald Trump and that guy that looks like Sammy Hagar. I forget his name, Dr. whatever, the guy from Uni. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. It is an uphill climb. Beating an incumbent, even one as unpopular as Congressman Rutherford, is definitely difficult unless that incumbent has done something tragic, unless that incumbent has done something so scandalous, unless that incumbent has totally destroyed the faith and the respect and the faith of the electorate. It's very difficult to do, but not impossible. It's been done before. And I think that the 5th District of Florida is ready for a change. And I think I'm the change that they're ready for. But it's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of people. It's going to take a lot of door knocking. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of knockers, and it's going to take some time. Which is all right now. All we have is time. We would like a little bit more money, though. If you have not yet pledged to join the fight and to help us build up our war chest. So when the time comes, look, it's going to be, you think Iran's bad right now. Well, you're right, but it's going to get pretty heated, and we're going to need to start dropping some bombs, and they cost money. Mark Kaye. Hold on, let me go. I know what it always happens. Mark, let me log out, because every time I go in here, I'm logged in and all my private information is right there. Let me just do this. Go to markk4congress.com. markk4congress.com. You can check it out there. You can see there's a little doll. There's me, the little action. I guess action figure is a better way to put it than doll. Doll's not very masculine, nor is it very powerful sounding, but you can give any donation you want, $25, $50. You could give up to $3,500, no more, because that is the maximum allowed by the FEC. $25, $50, $100. We've gotten a bunch of $500 donations, and I guess people really like these hats. I'm giving out these hats for a $500 donation because I only have a handful of them. And if you want one, just go to markk4congress.com, donate $500. We'll drop a hat in the mail to you ASAP. Anyway, listen, we've got so much to get. This whole Iran thing, man, I knew that this Iran thing was coming, and I knew because, well, Donald Trump basically, in not so many words, said it was coming, and he said it yesterday when he was at the Kennedy Center. And I talked a little bit about this on the 47 Daily podcast this morning, which if you don't get our 47 Daily podcast, man, go to 47daily.com and subscribe, because we kick off the day. Here's basically what happens. Oh, let me close my email, which is that's a great reminder. I need to close my email. Here's basically a day in the life of me. Basically what happens is I wake up about 5:30 or so, brush my teeth, but you don't need to know about that. Put on some clothes, go, and I come in here. I just start working immediately on the 47 Daily podcast. I start going through the news. I start rifling through all of President Donald Trump's tweets. I start looking through all of his posts on social media, all that kind of stuff. And then I record the podcast, and we get it up there by 8 o'clock, by 8:30 at the latest. And then we start working on this show. Lot going on. In between, we're posting on social media. Yesterday, I had to do that interview with WJXT, like I said. But a lot of times what happens is from the time we launch our morning news podcast, the 47daily.com, to the time we start Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, usually there's like all new news. But this Iran thing has been the big highlighted issue. Well, there's two things that have been going on. Israel attacking Iran, and trying to just basically wipe out their nuclear program, killing all of their generals and wiping out their intelligence network. All of that happened overnight, and it's still going on this morning. The ramifications, the fallout, President Donald Trump's response to it, Tim Walz's response to it. Why is Tim Walz responding to anything nobody cares about Tim Walz? Tim Walz is the least respected politician in America. Probably the least intelligent, the least, knowledgeable about anything going on in the Middle East. I don't know why he thinks he knows any of these things. But he's out there gabbing and flapping his jaw and making weird sounds with his mouth. Anyway, he's being Tim Walz, and I'm not really sure why that is. But President Donald Trump said, look, I knew this was coming, and we knew that it was coming because at the Kennedy Center, he said this when he was asked about why are American troops being moved out of the Middle East.
Could you provide an update on Iran? We're hearing reports that U.S. personnel are being moved out of the region within striking distance.
Well, they are being moved out because it could be a dangerous place, and we'll see what happens. But we've given notice to move out, and we'll see what happens.
Is there anything that could be done to dial the temperature down in the region?
They can't have a nuclear weapon. Very simply. They can't have a nuclear weapon. We're not going to allow that. That's number one on foreign policy. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They're crazy. They're nuts. They're lunatics. They hate Israel. They hate America. They will do whatever it takes to destroy Israel and America. They have a big countdown clock in the middle of their downtown that says 2040. Death to Israel. We've got till 2040 to destroy this entire country and kill all the Jewish people. And so they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's their only goal. Here's the other thing too. If a country's only goal is to acquire weapons of mass destruction, that's not a good country. That should never be the goal of a country. Like if you look at the United States of America, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. Okay, that sounds good. In order to form a more, provide for the, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, all good stuff.
for us and our posterity, making sure that we have a great union where we are safe, where we are prosperous, where we can pursue happiness, and making sure it's not just us, but all the people that come after us. Great country. When your one goal, though, is create weapons of mass destruction to destroy Israel, that's not a good mission statement. Let's just say that. And so Iran said, okay, we're done with this. We're really sick and tired of playing this game. And this always reminds me of the West Wing. And I know the West Wing, everyone's like, Martin Sheen's a liberal. They're all liberals. I get it. But they were like not the liberals of today. They were the liberals of like the 90s. They were the Bill Clinton liberals. And Bill Clinton liberals, while they were still lecherous and criminal, they actually were fiscally conservative. They had some kind of morals. I mean, that's odd to say. That's really odd to say. But you know what I mean? Like they weren't the lunatic, transgender, what are your pronouns, DEI, COVID, mask, everything. They weren't those people. They were a lot different. And so there's a lot of lessons from the West Wing. But in the West, I remember this one episode. It was like the second or third episode of the season of the show. And it was about a proportional response. And the president was given something was attacked. I guess we were attacked. One of our bases was attacked. So they came up with proportionate responses. And the president looks at him and goes, what is the virtue of a proportionate response? And they all look at him like, what? And he goes, what is the virtue of a proportionate response? They bomb a base. We take out an airport. What? And then it just goes on and on and on forever. Why don't we just destroy them once and for all? And everybody in the room was like shocked. And then he goes, I want disproportionate responses. And he leaves and he comes back 2 hours later and they've got like all these plans to like for disproportionate responses. And then in the end, they chicken out and they go with the proportionate response. But what Israel has done, what Netanyahu has done is he said, no more with the proportionate response. October 7th was that was it. That was the line in the sand, right? They parachuted in or paraglided in. They broke through the gate. They just slaughtered innocent people. They dragged hostages away. They did terrible things to them. They kept them in these catacombs. It was just horrible. You all know it. You know the thing. We all saw the video. And that was it. And then Hezbollah was bombing and Hamas and everything else. And that was when Benjamin Netanyahu said, no more. We know Israel's behind this. We know Israel funded this. We know that if Israel is shut down, then it's going to be over. There's going to be no more funding to Hamas. There's going to be no more funding to Hezbollah. There's going to be no more of this nonsense. So he's been planning and putting together a proportionate response. He waited for President Donald Trump to get back into office. I guarantee one of the first things he did on January 20th was call the president and say the countdown's on. And even Donald Trump said, look, they had 60 days. In fact, listen to this. This is a call. Dana Bash, President Donald Trump has not made any public statements yet, but he's been on the phone with a lot of reporters. First, he was on the phone with Brett Baer last night.
The president was aware of Israel's action before it happened. There were no surprises here. But he gave me a quote. He said, Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb. We're hoping to get back to the negotiating table. We'll see. There are several people in leadership in Iran that will not be coming back.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in leadership in Iran who will not be coming back. And that is exactly what happened. In fact, today he spoke with Dana Bash and he said, okay, well, now we know they're all dead.
But didn't say explicitly that the U.S. supported what Israel was doing. So that's how I started a very brief conversation. And he responded by saying, quote, we, of course, support Israel, obviously, and supported it like nobody has ever supported it. And then he went on to say this. Iran should have listened to me when I said, you know, I gave them, I don't know if you know this, but I gave them a 60-day warning, and today is day 61. And then he said they, meaning Iran, should now come to the table to make a deal before it's too late. And then he said something really noteworthy. He said, the people I was dealing with are dead, the hardliners, to which I just wanted to underscore. So what you're saying is Israel has now killed the people who you were dealing with. And he said very sarcastically, they didn't die of the flu. They didn't die of COVID.
Okay. Now, by the way,
it was
that is, by the way, that's one of my new favorite presidential quotes of all time. You know, there's ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. There's, what are some other, there's some really good ones. I don't know, maybe I can't, I'm right off the top of my head, they all escape me. But, then there's the business of America's business. That's a good one too. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Yeah, these are all good ones. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall, but they didn't die of the flu. They didn't die of COVID. That has to be up there on the list for sure.
Brief conversation, but my takeaway was twofold. Number one, they are really hoping that instead of escalating the situation, which is what most people, our terrific reporters and analysts you've been talking to all morning, believe is possible, even probable, he's hoping that instead of that, this forces Iran to come to the table. We'll see if that's going to happen. He also, he made clear he understands that it could escalate, but he is hoping now that Israel has done what it's done, that it takes another turn and de-escalates. We'll see.
It sounds like such an interesting conversation, though brief, and you hit on what seems to be emerging as one of the key questions here, especially based on what Secretary of State Marco Rubio said almost immediately after the attacks began, which was basically this was Israel acting unilaterally. It's one thing if President Trump says this morning that he supports Israel. It's another if he signed off, as it were, on the attacks yesterday. And it's still hard to tell where that line is, Dan.
He definitely, I mean, it's such an important point, John. He definitely did not say, I signed off on this.
No, but he knew about it. And look, what's really interesting here is that all of the people that want to blame Donald Trump for World War III and have been saying Donald Trump's going to create World War III, they really, what she just pointed out there, Donald Trump never signed off on this. And he never said, okay. He never said, I'm going to, what Donald Trump is, and he's proving it every single day, is he is an America first, hands off, let the world take care of itself kind of president. And even in his statement, let me pull up his statement here real quick. He released a statement on Truth Social, which is his platform of choice. And here's what he wrote. He wrote, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now, and it will only get worse. There has already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make even more brutal. But there is still time to make this slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there is nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late. God bless you all. So Donald Trump is saying, look, I knew this was going to happen. He didn't sign off on it. He didn't condemn it. He said, all right, this is between Israel and Iran. And as a hands-off America First president, he's not going to meddle. He said, I told Iran, make a deal. I told Iran, guys, you don't even understand. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be brutal. There's going to be no end to this. It will end with the end of Iran. And that's something Israel has made clear. They're not going to have any more of these wars. They're going to make sure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. And they're going to make sure that the conversation about Iran having a nuclear weapon ends right now. And Donald Trump said, we're done. He pulled his troops away. He said, we're pulling our troops away. You touch our troops, by the way, and it's your butt. But we're pulling our troops away. We're not dedicating any troops to the cause. We'll sell as many weapons to Israel, as they want. But we're not. This is between y'all. And it looks like, I think that Iran's gonna. I don't know that they're gonna keep escalating this. I mean, everybody's dead. He's literally right. Everyone he was negotiating with is dead. Every hardliner is dead. Every one of their top lieutenants, every one of their Revolutionary Guard generals, whatever, they're all gone. There's no leadership right now in the military in Iran. They're starting from scratch. They're haphazardly firing drones off, but most of their drones are gone. They shot 100 drones toward Israel. I imagine probably their last 100 drones. Keep in mind also that these drones that they're firing are also the same drones that they've been sending to Russia to fight Ukraine. So now Russia is like, yo, what's going on? Now we're going to be out of drones because Israel knocked them all out of commission. It's going to have repercussions for peace all over the world. And again, Donald Trump not escalating, not getting involved. He said, I told you so. I told you so. And he's letting Israel handle it. And I think that everybody's happier about that. Even the CNN people, the CNN folk are like, I can't, there's nothing I can say about it. There's nothing I can do. They're like, Donald Trump didn't escalate this. Donald Trump didn't sign off on it. Donald Trump didn't stop it. In fact, that's not true. Donald Trump did stop it. Do you remember a couple weeks ago, Donald Trump was in the Oval Office and he was taking questions and some reporter asked and said, there's a rumor that you called Benjamin Netanyahu and had him not attack Iran. Is that true? And Donald Trump said, I don't want to lie to you. Yes, it's true. I called Netanyahu. I said, now's not a good time. Now's not a good time. Donald Trump, the warmongering World War III. Yeah, WW3, World War III, starter. The guy that was going to destroy the world because he's so incompetent and his foreign policy is so destructive and America first just means the world last. Donald Trump called Benjamin Netanyahu and said, don't bomb Iran. It's not a good time. Let's play out the peace deal. Don't bomb Iran. We're trying to negotiate. Don't bomb Iran. That's what Donald Trump said. What kind of warmongering person who's in charge of, was starting World War III tells Israel not to bomb Iran? That's the worst way to not start World War III. Or that's the worst way to start World War III. That's what Donald Trump did. And then he goes, look, give me like 30 more days or 20 more days or however many more it was. And Netanyahu said, I'm going to go day 60 and that's it. And Donald Trump said, fine. So he negotiated with Iran. He tried to get Iran to the table. He warned Iran. Iran said nothing. And then boom, he pulled his troops away and Israel did the rest. And they're going to continue. They're not done. That's 100% what we know about it. Now, Tim Walz, I don't know why this guy is a thing. I don't know why the Democrats think this is a good move to keep putting Tim Walz out there. Tim Walz said that China should be the moral authority. Listen to this.
I don't think we can leave this discussion without just asking you broadly about what happened last night. Very eventful day on many scores, but the fact that we have Israel striking Iran and, in escalatory, I think would be an understatement. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Deeply concerned. I think we know anything in the Middle East. And look, I know there's a lot of folks here and across the country. The situation in Gaza is intolerable, and it became a central focus in the campaign. And I would say rightfully so. Human rights issues, how we're going to try and attempt to get a two-state solution where we can allow folks to live peacefully and coexist and have their own self-control or self-determination. The issue now in the spreading of this, and I have to be candid with you, I was there during the debates and I voted for the Iran nuclear deal. I think it was one of the most and I said in there, just to be clear, with the Russian ambassador, with the French ambassador, with our negotiators, with everybody who was there to bring about the capacity to stop Iran's nuclear capacity, but in a way that was not so punitive that we would hamper some of their economic growth. I truly worry now. I'm sure there's great strategic thinkers in the Trump administration that have now said, how is this going to, a tweet from the president today said, I told them they should have done something, and now here we are. Yeah, here we are with the Middle East back on fire in a way that is now expanded. Iran has to retaliate in their mind, I'm sure. And now, who is the voice in the world that can negotiate some type of agreement in this? Who holds the moral authority? Who holds the ability to do that? Because we are not seen as a neutral actor. And we maybe never were. I don't want to tell anybody that. I think there's a lot of people that say you always leaned one way in this. But I think there was at least an attempt to be somewhat of the arbitrator in this. We saw President Carter do it with Begin and Sadat. We've had certain wins along the way that were actually mutually beneficial both ways. Now I ask who that is. And I mean, consistently over and over again, we're going to have to face the reality. It might be the Chinese. And that goes against everything they say they're trying to do in terms of the balance of power. So I would just have to say my heart goes out for this. Ukraine continues to go on. Gaza continues to be a humanitarian disaster, and now it's expanded even further.
Okay, so Tim Walz believes the Chinese are the moral authority that will negotiate peace in the Middle East, and that the United States has taken a side, and that the Chinese will be fair arbitrators. This guy, I mean, I don't know what they're teaching in Minnesota. I don't know what kind of history they're taught in Minnesota. This guy was a teacher, which is unfortunate. But this is not at all accurate. There's nothing about the statement that's accurate. First of all, the United States of America has never not been on the side of Israel. Okay, maybe there were a few years when Obama was president where, yes, he hated Israel and he dropped billions of dollars worth of cash in Iran so that they could repopulate their army and start spreading terrorism all over the globe again. Yeah, we remember that. But for the most part, it has been standard fare that the United States of America is staunchly allied with Israel. There should be no mistaking that. I mean, that has been our foreign policy since Israel was created. And Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump, I mean, Donald Trump has a park named after him in front of the American embassy in Jerusalem, where he moved it. And Tim Walz wants to think that now all of a sudden the world doesn't think that we're an impartial observer. We never were an impartial observer. We were never on the side of Iran. We were never like, Iran, Israel, you guys got to work this out. Donald Trump has said over and over again, Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, period. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, period. And as long as Iran tries to keep making nuclear weapons, guess what? We're going to keep supporting people who are fighting the battle to keep them from that happening. I mean, what foreign policy is this guy? Jimmy Carter brought the peace. You know, the only person who ever brought peace to the Middle East, it wasn't Bill Clinton, it wasn't Jimmy Carter, wasn't Barack Obama, wasn't even Ronald Reagan. It was Donald Trump and the Abraham Accords. Donald Trump signed peace deals in the Middle East with Israel, with the United Arab Emirates, with Egypt. I mean, it was nuts what he was able to accomplish. What he was able to accomplish a couple months ago when he went to Qatar, when he went to Abu Dhabi. It's always tough to say. And when he went to Saudi Arabia, when he went to all these places, the United Arab Emirates, he came back with trillions of dollars in investment. He came back with deals. He came back with a free plane for the United States government, not for him. And Tim Walz is out there saying, oh, now we have to rely on the Chinese. Fun fact, the Chinese pick Iran, period. The Chinese pick Iran because Iran hates America. And if Iran hates America, and if Iran pledges death to America and death to Israel and death to all the Western culture, the destruction of the United States of America is great for China. And Tim Walz wants them to go negotiate a peace between Iran and Israel? This guy, I just thought he looked this dumb. But now apparently it's clear that he is. He's dumber than he looks. It's really kind of shocking that the Democrats put him forward. I don't know if they put him forward or if he just keeps, I guess, you know what? He seems to me like the kind of guy that the Democrats are like, could you just shut up now? But he's like, no, I'm going to go on C-SPAN. They're like, no, you're not. He's like, come on, I want to do it. What else am I going to do? I got nothing else going on. I lost the whole thing with Kamala. Come on, give me something. It's like David Hogg. The Democrats pick these horrible people who feel like they should be in the spotlight, who feel like they have something to say, who feel like they have some kind of expertise and have zero. Zip, zilch, nada, niente. And yet they keep putting him out there on television. And I'll be honest with you, I'm all for it. I say put Tim Walz on all day. Give him his own gosh darn show because it's more content. It's more content. Whenever Democrats do dumb things, it's great content for us. Speaking of Democrats doing dumb things, we got to talk about Alex Padilla. Alex Padilla, this guy from California. I thought Adam Schiff was the most horrendous senator from California. Turns out I was wrong. It's a race to the bottom in California. Adam Schiff and Alex Padilla, those are the two. And it's a race to the bottom. Who's the worst senator from California? Alex Padilla or Adam Schiff? Yesterday, Alex Padilla wanted it to be him. Kristi Noem was giving an update. She was giving a press conference. She's the Director of Homeland Security, the Secretary of Homeland Security. She is a high-ranking cabinet official. She is a high-ranking, top-secret government official. Director of Homeland Security. I'm not saying that there's cabinet positions that are more important than others, but I'm going to say hers is probably more important than some others. If you're the Secret Service and you're at a cabinet meeting and a gunman comes in, you're probably going to, I mean, that would hopefully never happen. You're probably going to, I would hope, jump in front of the Secretary of Homeland Security before you would, like, I don't know, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Sorry, Doug Collins. Doug Collins has got to fend for himself. Doug Collins, you jump under the table because nobody's jumping in front of you. The Homeland Security, very important. Secretary of State, very important. Secretary of the Treasury, these are very important. There is a hierarchy in the cabinet. I mean, there is. You can look at the meetings. You can see who sits on the edge and who sits next to the President of the United States. And Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem are never at the edge of the table. They're always right there. They're always right there in the middle. So Kristi Noem is giving a speech, and this guy, Alex Padilla, bursts in, no identification, not wearing his Senate badge that denotes him as United States Senator, starts screaming and yelling, starts lunging aggressively and angrily toward the Secretary of Homeland Security, and gets tossed and arrested by law enforcement, and then has the audacity to go and complain about it.
Hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
Many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty.
Yeah, he's yelling hands off. You can hear her in the back. She's like, she's talking. She's just going on. She's a pro. This guy comes in. He starts screaming, yelling, starts going toward the podium. God knows what he was going to do if he got, like, that's my question. What were you going to do if you got to Kristi Noem? Were you going to hit her? Were you going to spit on her? Were you going to throw a Molotov cocktail at her? What were you going to do? Why would you barge into the press conference like that? She's doing her thing. Is this how they do politics in California? Is this how senators in California act? Apparently it is. Apparently it is. So they took him out in the hallway, and this is the best part. First, what they did was they dragged him out of the room, which is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to remove the threat from the proximity of the asset, and then you throw him on the ground and you throw the cuffs on him, and that's exactly what happened. This is my favorite part.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and stand behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
You can hear the cuffs. I love it. That's one of my favorite sounds. There it is. Cuff.
There's no recording allowed out here per FBI, right?
That, to me, by the way, that is ASMR. When I hear the cuffs going on to an elected Democrat official who's grandstanding and basic, that to me is... Here, let's listen to it one more time. Here it is. Oh, yeah.
There's no recording allowed out here.
Oh, it's so good. Listen. Oh, yeah.
I did not know. There's no recording allowed out here per FBI, right?
Oh, it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying to hear the cuffs being slapped on an elected Democrat official. And it's the second, listen, get this. This is what's happening with the Democrat Party. This is why they're so bad. This is why they're so crazy. The Democrat Party now has had 2 elected officials arrested in the last 2 weeks. LaMonica McIver, a.k.a. the Monica McIver, a representative in Newark. She was arrested because she tried to burst through an ICE facility, and she assaulted with her big old self ICE agents. And she was indicted now on 3 counts. LaMonica McIver was arrested, a sitting representative in the House of Representatives. Yesterday, Alex Padilla arrested for trying to attack a member of the cabinet. They have no more ideas. There's nothing that they can say. There's nothing that they can do. They have no leadership. So now they're physically attacking the other side. This is even worse, I think, than what they tried to do to Donald Trump. They tried to have Donald Trump arrested. They tried to have him indicted. They tried to throw him in prison. Okay, yes, they tried to murder him too, so I guess that's really bad. But now they're going after his cabinet. They're going after law enforcement. They're going after the brave men and women of ICE who are out there trying to clean up our streets and get rid of these illegal immigrant, criminal, thug, gang member, rapist, drug dealer, human trafficker, murderers. It's the weirdest thing ever. Kristi Noem, by the way, who is like all class. You want to talk about classy people. Donald Trump's cabinet is filled with not just competent people, but classy people. Kristi Noem, after her life is put at risk by this Padilla guy, goes out and talks to him. Literally sits down, says, yeah, I know. He got arrested. He was acting up. He wanted to talk to me. So I went out. She's a better person than I am. She went out and she talked to him. And here's what happened.
I had a conversation with the senator after this. We sat down for 10 to 15 minutes and talked about the fact that nobody knew who he was. He didn't say who he was, that until he was already had been lunging forward and people were trying to detain him for quite a period of time. And that this, we're leaders, we're public servants. And if he had requested a meeting, I would have loved to have sat down and had a conversation with him. That coming into a press conference like this is political theater. It's wrong, and it does a disservice to this country and the people who live here. So we sat down, had a conversation. We probably disagree on 90% of the topics, but we agreed to exchange phone numbers. We'll continue to talk and share information, and I think that's the way it should be in this country. I wish he would have acted that way in the beginning instead of creating a scene like this.
Nobody knows who you are, dude. That's the best part of the whole thing. That's the best part of this whole clip is nobody knows who you are.
I had a conversation with the senator after this. We sat down for 10 to 15 minutes and talked about the fact that nobody knew who he was. He didn't say who he was. That
nobody knows who you are. Hey, this guy thinks he's AOC, right? AOC walks into a room. Everyone's like, oh, look, it's AOC. It's AOC. Look, it's Alex. Look, it's the leader of the Democrat Party. Nancy Pelosi walks into a bar. That's not a joke. That's just an actual common occurrence. Nancy Pelosi walks into a bar. Everyone's like, Nancy Pelosi's here. Look at that. Wow. There are Democrats that people know. Jasmine Crockett is one of them. Jasmine Crockett's star is on the rise. Everybody knows Jasmine Crockett. She was out there crocking it up yesterday. We'll play you those clips here in just a minute. But Alex Padilla is not one of those guys. He's not one of the guys that walks into a place and everyone goes, don't I know you? Aren't you that senator from California? Maybe now they will. But no, Alex Padilla walks into a room and starts screaming and yelling, and they think this is just some angry constituent, and they haul him out, they throw his ass on the ground, and they slap the cuffs on him. And Kristi Noem goes up to him afterward and goes, guy, what are you doing? Nobody knows who you are. You could have been killed. You could have been, even Chuck Schumer, by the way, Chuck Schumer's reaction to this whole thing. This is interesting to me too, and this should not go unnoticed. When Democrats react, there's always this theater. I mean, what this guy did was clearly theatrical. He knew he was going to get thrown out. Maybe he didn't think he was going to get arrested, or maybe he thought he was going to get arrested. Maybe he was hoping to get arrested, but he had a press conference ready to go. All the senators back up on the Hill were ready to come to his aid. And Chuck Schumer, who said not one word about ICE agents having bricks thrown at their head. Chuck Schumer, who said not one word about police officers in California getting pelted and spit on and cursed at. Chuck Schumer, who said not one word about LaMonica McIver, pulling a Kool-Aid man at the ICE facility, bursting through, going, hey, 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 and slamming her big old gut on people. Didn't say a word about any of that. Now, all of a sudden, Chuck Schumer is sick to his stomach.
Without objection. Mr. President, I just saw something that sickened my stomach. The manhandling of a United States senator.
I thought he was going to say mirror for a minute, but I looked in the mirror. Anyway, no, I digress. Here, let me resume.
We need immediate answers to what the hell went on. I yield the floor.
A small spattering of applause on that one. We need answers to what the hell went on. Well, I'll tell you what went on. Your senator from California acted the fool, lost his mind, burst into a private press conference where a high-ranking cabinet official and head of the Homeland Security Department was giving a speech and got arrested because that's what happens to lunatics who break into press conferences where high-level cabinet meetings or members are giving speeches. That's exactly what happens. What happened should have happened. Nothing should have gone differently. I would have liked a little bit more brute force on personal, I would have I think they
on your back. If you let my hands go ahead, behind
I don't really feel like that's manhandling. Like I've watched Cops, right? I've seen Cops. I know what manhandling is. That's not manhandling.
Without objection. Mr. President, I just saw something that sickened my stomach. The manhandling of a United States senator. We need immediate answers.
I don't think that was. Let's watch it one more. Let's see. Is this manhandling?
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go ahead, behind my back.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. One hand.
Drop something in the chat there. Let me know. Is that manhandling? Is that enough, man? I feel like there should have been more manhandling. I would have liked to have seen more not deadly force, but brute force. I think they should have. I think they really treated him with kid gloves. But you know what they should have said to him.
You're a fool.
Yeah, okay. Anyway. The other senator, this is the other thing too. When one senator, and this is a Democrat thing, Republicans don't do this. When one senator did something really stupid that drew headlines and got all kinds of negative attention, usually what happens is on the Republican side, you just go, oh, that was idiotic. I'm just going to leave that alone. No, on the Democrat side, what they do is they then try to outstupid each other. They try to jump on board. What happens in the Democrat Party is, for example, Padilla goes in, he yells at Kristi Noem, he gets arrested, and then instead of not acting that way, all the other Democrats start acting ridiculous too. Before we get to Adam Schiff, let me just show you what Cory Booker. Cory, I thought he was going to give another 25-hour. I thought he was going to give another 25-hour filibuster here. Listen to Cory Booker. This guy's all big mad, and I think he's just big mad because he didn't have the idea. He didn't have the idea first.
This son of Mexican immigrants who cleaned homes and served food, this man with equal dignity in this body, today was driven violently to his knees, as if made to kneel before the authority of the executive.
Okay, so now Cory Booker, Democrat from New Jersey, is saying this man who broke the law, attacked a high-ranking cabinet official, and was arrested by police was dragged to his knees and made to bow down. I'm kidding you not. I kid you not. Made to bow down before son of an immigrant. By the way, son of an immigrant. This guy's the son of immigrants. His mother cleaned floors, for crying out loud. And they're dragging him around, making him bow down, kneel before Donald Trump. This is exactly what, this is his words, not mine.
This man with equal dignity in this body today was driven violently to his knees, as if made to kneel before the authority of the executive.
I mean, first of all, Donald Trump wasn't even there. I didn't see Donald Trump there at all. Kneel before the authority of the executive. Driven violently to his knees. Again, is this violent? Is this violent? I ask you.
You're a fool.
Oh, that's not. Sorry, that's the wrong. Wait, where did my Padilla clip go? Oh, hold on, wait here. I have it. I have it right here. Is this what we are now considering violent?
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. One hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
I mean, it's carpeting. They're not even throwing them on the street. Most of the time when thugs get arrested in LA, they're slammed down on the concrete or they're shoved up against a cop car. That was cush, man. He had carpeting. They were like, okay, cool. Even the cops like, okay, just be cool. We're just going to cuff you. Just be cool. And Cory Booker is out there saying he's being forced to kneel before Trump.
Because he was so-called disrespectful.
What is so-called? He was 100% disrespectful. How was it so-called disrespectful? Cory Booker, I don't know, standing in front of the Senate and talking for 25 hours must have killed a bunch of brain cells. So-called disrespectful? Look, I got it on, we have it on tape, folks.
Hands up.
He's pushing, he's shoving.
I have questions for the
He's
secretary,
breaking in, he's
the
interrupting.
fact of the matter is, a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on
The police are asking him to leave. He's ignoring them.
Hands off.
He's yelling hands. That's totally disrespectful. That's not so-called. That is 100% disrespectful.
The executive. Because he was so-called disrespectful. That should offend the consciousness, not just of the other 99 members of this body. It should offend the conscience of this country. Because if you can make Alex Padilla forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop?
I mean, let's see. There's 46 Democrats in the Senate. I'd say 45 more to go. We can stop after 45.
He's a United States senator. And if you could force him to kneel to his knees violently, when does it stop?
I have a question. If he's a United States Senator, and if everyone's so excited about the fact that he's a United States Senator, and if being a United States Senator offers him all of this great stuff, why is he not acting like a United States Senator? Why is he not calling up? Like Kristi Noem said, look, you can call my office. I guarantee that if any secretary gets a call from a senator and says, we need to meet, they would meet. It's their job. Senators have a lot of power. They have a lot of pull. And the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Secretary of the Treasury, they're all there to work with all branches of government. And their job is to meet with each other and make sure that everyone's happy and everything's copacetic. So if he'd done that, it might have had a different outcome. He wouldn't have been forced to kneel in front of the executive. Rah, rah, rah. Cory Booker's out there grandstanding on behalf of Alex Padilla because Alex Padilla can't grandstand. He can't even stand because he was forced to kneel. Adam Schiff, his cohort from California, also taking the opportunity to steal some of the spotlight.
I just watched footage of our colleague, my California colleague, Senator Alex Padilla, being forcibly removed from a briefing by the Secretary of Homeland Security's staff. He went there to observe and to ask questions, and I watched with horror on this video, seeing these agents grab my colleague, my fellow senator from California, grab him, push him out of the hearing as he was identifying himself as a U.S. senator, bring him into a hallway, bring him down to the ground, bring his arms behind his back. I saw this happen to my colleague, and I am shocked by how far we have descended in the first 140 days of this administration.
Okay. Let me explain what's happening here. Adam Schiff, by the way, is not shocked. He's scared. Because Adam Schiff knows that if they're going to arrest Alex Padilla for, I mean, again, he didn't identify himself as a senator. He came in and said, I'm Senator Alex Padilla, but he gave no proof. He wasn't wearing his Senate pin. He didn't have any of his staff. Nothing was there to prove. I could just walk in somewhere. I could have walked in and said, I'm Senator Alex Padilla, and I demand to be heard. In fact, I'm going to start doing that. But Adam Schiff is scared because if they could arrest Alex Padilla for this, they can arrest Alex Schiff for all of the illegal things that he's done. Adam Schiff now sees, holy cow, Donald Trump is back. Holy cow, our shenanigans are not going to be allowed in this body or anywhere else. Holy cow, they've now arrested a representative for trying to break into an ICE facility. They've arrested a senator for trying to bust into a private hearing or private meeting, and they'll 100% come after Adam Schiff, and no one can protect him because the executive branch is in charge of the Republicans are in charge of the executive branch, and the Republicans are in charge of the congressional branch, and the Republicans are sort of in charge of the Supreme Court, depending on what day it is and what side of the bed Amy Coney Barrett wakes up on. Adam Schiff is like, I can't believe they did this. I don't really care about Alex Padilla, but now I'm petrified for my own well-being. Because if they'll arrest him for this stupid thing, they'll 100% arrest me. In fact, James Comer announced that they are going to start interviewing everybody in the Biden administration who may or may not have known and have covered up Joe Biden's mental and physical decline.
The date to be announced very soon, where every staffer will be coming forward and answering questions voluntarily by our committee. If for some reason they backtrack in the next 24 hours, then they will receive a subpoena, and they know that. With Dr. O'Connor, we have a call tomorrow with his attorneys. I expect the same from Dr. O'Connor. So this investigation is moving at a rapid pace, Sean, and you know that there's been a ton of information that's come out in the last 7 days from eyewitness accounts, the tell-all books, the Tapper book, people like Buttigieg, interviews that have surfaced where Joe Biden didn't know about executive orders he just signed. So this investigation, I think, is going to move at a pace that we're very pleased to see for a congressional investigation.
People like Buttigieg. I didn't hear that. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that when I was previewing that before the show. I missed the Buttigieg part. But did you hear that? That's what James Comer said. He said, we're going to call We're going to call everybody. They're coming voluntarily. The entire gosh darn administration, everybody that worked for Joe Biden is coming to the Hill. They're coming to the committee very soon. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have a date. We're going to talk to all of them. We're going to talk to the doctors. We're going to talk to the administrators. We're going to talk to the staffers. We're going to talk to Booty Jag. And we're going to get to the bottom of what did you know, Booty Jag? What did you know? What did you hide? What did you know about Joe Biden? What did you know about his cognitive problems? We're going to have Kamala up there in front of the committee, which I'm going to be honest with you, I am ready for Kamala in front of the committee. I have not heard. I missed the cackle. I never thought it would be true, but I missed the cackle a little bit. And I'm excited to see, I'm just excited to see her get ripped to shreds by the House of Representatives. I'm excited to see her get ripped to shreds by the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee and all the other committees that are going to go in there and, well, rip her to shreds. It's going to be a good time, and I am here for it for sure. And Booty Jag, holy cow! Yeah, I just can't wait for Booty Jag to get his butt handed to him on a platter. That's going to be it's happening slowly but surely. It's happening, and the real reason these Democrats are acting like this is there's this whole idea that when an animal is cornered, that's when it really just goes crazy, right? Like it just acts nuts. The other day, I let the dogs out. So if you ask who let the dogs out, it was me. Woof, woof, woof. But I let the dogs. It was early in the morning. It was like 5:30. I'd just woken up. Usually they go out later, but they were like scratching on the cage. So I go, fine. I let them out into the backyard. And a few minutes later, I hear Emma, my little dog. She's barking and screaming, whatever. And I hear, and then I hear, and I go, uh-oh. So I open the door and I go out there. I'm in my underwear and my bare feet. And I run out into the lawn and I see Emma is barking like her head off crazy. And Leo is running around in a circle. And in the middle of the circle is this possum. And the possum is like, and they're like right against the fence. So Emma's barking at this possum. Leo's trying to, I guess, play with it because he thinks it's like a play toy or something. And this possum is scared, you know what? So he's just like hissing and showing his teeth and he's like, argh, and he has no idea what to do because he's up against it. He's cornered. He's got the fence on one side. He's got Emma barking in his face. He's got Leo trying to chew on him like he's a binky or something. And so I get up there and I start clapping my hands and I clear him away. And then the possum scurries into a hole or whatever. But that's what the Democrat Party is. They're up against a wall. Everyone's they got the DOJ barking at them. They got the House of Representatives barking at them. They've got investigation after investigation. And so they're screaming and yelling. And Jasmine Crockett she started it all with these assaultive, this assaultive language, talking about hitting Ted Cruz, punching Ted Cruz in the face, talking about Governor Hot Wheels. She's the one that lowered the bar verbally. She went out there with the inflammatory rhetoric. She's the one that talked about Elon Musk and going down and all this other stuff. All of these things. That is what Jasmine Crockett started to do. And the Democrats all followed suit. Well, now guess what? It doesn't work anymore. So they're like, all right, nobody listens to us anymore. We've got to go to DEFCON 2. What's DEFCON 2? Physical assault. Physical assault, bursting into meetings, getting arrested. That's the only way they know to get their point across. And they're not even doing it well. Jasmine Crockett, of course, yesterday was doing her same thing. She was in a Senate meeting and she was yelling and screaming about sanctuary cities being good or something.
I'm fully anticipating that we are going to have a problem because I've been receiving phone calls that people don't feel safe coming here. And it's not the immigrants. It's this government that is making them feel unsafe. But let me also do this because they love to cherry pick. They can find, any one person that has been killed. And if they've been killed by an immigrant, then God darn it, every single immigrant is going out and they are killers. And that is the problem. But they don't want to talk about white supremacy. I don't know how many hearings we going to have about the fact that there's been this one immigrant that killed this one person. And no, I'm not excusing any killings by them or white supremacists.
I don't know. It sounds to me a little bit like she's excusing. It's only one killing. Listen, they got one immigrant kills one American and all of a sudden all immigrants are bad. It's just one killing. That's what I heard. I don't know what she's saying. She doesn't. I'll take her at her word, but I feel like she was saying it was just one dead American at the hands of an illegal immigrant.
And no, I'm not excusing any killings by them.
Okay, she's not excusing any killings.
Them or white supremacists, but they haven't had these hearings. We didn't have a hearing on Buffalo and what happened there. We didn't. I'm fully anticipating.
Okay, so she says, I am not excusing any killings, but, and whenever you use the B word, it means you're basically doing exactly what it was. I'm not saying I'm not saying that Jasmine Crockett should be evicted or expelled from Congress, but I'm kind of saying that. We all know how that works. That's it was a busy day, man. It was a busy day. So, Jasmine Crockett is trying to continue the angle of white supremacy and compare it to what's going on with ICE. I guess what she's suggesting is that white people should be expelled from the country next. I guess and this is another reason why. This is what I talked about in my video. When I declared my candidacy for Congress, Mark Kaye for Congress, when I declared the candidacy for Congress, and by the way, if you would like to support the cause, markkforcongress.com, markkforcongress.com. When I declared for Congress, what happened was the one thing that I said, look, we have a problem here. These Democrats have gone absolutely crazy, like batty, like ape poop crazy. Bat poop crazy. They've lost their minds. They have no ideas. They have no agenda. They have no hope for the future. They are like the possum, scared, and when you're scared, you will do anything. Any last ditch effort to save yourself, to save your career, to save your party, to save your political power, that's what they're going to do. And that's what they're doing now. And God forbid that they win in 2026, which history tells us they've got a pretty good shot. 97% of the time, the party in power of the presidency and the House of Representatives loses power in the House of Representatives in the midterm elections, which means when the Republicans hold the White House and the House of Representatives, they will lose the House of Representatives in the midterms. When the Democrats hold the office of the president and the House of Representatives, they will lose the House of Representatives in the midterms. Doesn't matter what the party is. It just matters if it's the midterms and who's in power. And if the Democrats somehow, good Lord Almighty, don't let it happen, take control of the House of Representatives, then Jasmine Crockett and AOC and Sri Kandavar and Chuck Schumer and the guy that loves Abrego Garcia so much that he flew to El Salvador to have margaritas with him, all those people are going to be in charge of this country. And the first thing they're going to do is impeach Donald Trump. And they're going to be in charge of all these committees, and they're going to stop the investigations into Joe Biden. They're going to stop the investigations into who knew what about Joe Biden's cognitive mental abilities. They're going to stop the investigations into everything. And they're going to stymie Donald Trump's entire America First agenda. They're going to stymie the MAGA movement. Anything Donald Trump wants to get done, he won't be able to get done. And that's why the midterms are important. That's why winning in the midterms are important. That's why having the right people in place in the midterms are important. It's not just enough to stack the deck with Republicans. You've got to stack the deck with Republicans who can A, fight against the Democrats should they win, or B, push forward very quickly Donald Trump's agenda in his final 2 years if the Republicans somehow are able to maintain control of the House of Representatives. Only a 3% chance, folks. Oh, and with the slim majority that we have, I'll tell you what, man. I'm glad I'm running in a primary election because on election day, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat watching that count for the House of Representatives. Which way is it going to go? Which way is it going to go? Right, left, red, blue, red, blue. It's going to be a long night, and we probably won't even know the next morning because there's so many races that will be so close. But if we lose the House of Representatives, we have to audit our entire party, audit every single seat and say, is this the right person for the job? Is this the kind of person that can go up against Jasmine Crockett? Is this the kind of person that can call out the Democrats? Or is this the kind of person that's just going to vote with them because it's easier? Like John Rutherford did with Joe Biden. Countless times. When John Rutherford was in the Congress and Joe Biden was president, he voted with Joe Biden. And then when Joe Biden left and Donald Trump came in, he started voting with Donald Trump again. And that's not the kind of leadership we need. We need somebody who's going to vote conservative no matter who's in office. Vote conservative even if it's not cool. It's always cool, by the way, to vote conservative. That was just, I'm just saying. We need somebody who's going to say, here's what I believe, and I will believe it whoever's the president. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, the auto pen, Donald Trump again. It doesn't matter. Whoever's in the White House, I will still vote the exact same way. John Rutherford is not that guy. And that's why I'm challenging him on primary day, August the 18th, 2026. And I know it seems like a long time from now, but now is when we need your support. You can go to markkforcongress.com. You can also drop a super chat, and we got a bunch of them. Look at this. Christiane Haggerty. Again, that's 2 days in a row. Christiane, thank you so much for dropping a $2 super chat. Supper chat sounds good, too, if you want to toss like a burrito my way. Mark is the best. Good luck with your campaign, Christiane Haggerty. I do appreciate you so much. We got another one from My VA Lady, virtual assistant service. $10. Thank you. Mark is cooking up a cool thing to help existing podcasters, people who are thinking about starting a podcast. If it wasn't for Mark and Gain, my biz would not have had big wins this week. Thanks, Chief. You are welcome, My VA Lady. My VA Lady, by the way, one of the most successful members of our Golden Age, Influencers Network that we have, and very proud of her. I do have something cooking up for anyone who wants a podcast, and we will have details on that coming up next week. Faux show. So as sure as my name is Mark Kaye, and you know it is because it's right there. Next week I'll have all the details on what we're cooking up so that you can join us if you're interested in being a podcaster or learning about podcast or any of those other great things. And congratulations once again, My VA Lady, on all your wins, and thank you for the generous $10 super chat. We also had some Rumble rants come in. We had one come in a little earlier that I need to mention. Oh, let me move that over here. And I think I have it right here. It looks like we have, wait, where was it? It was here a minute ago. Wait, I got it right. Wait, I get a lot of text messages. Nope, hold on. That's not, wait, where is it? Oh, here it is. I get a lot of text messages. This is from US Abby Girl, $30 Rumble rant. Look at that. US Abby Girl, happy Friday, Patriots. I can only listen today. Have a safe and happy Father's Day, Mark, and all of the dads listening and watching. God bless our conservative dads. Love all of your Patriots. Perfect. See, look, I'm getting even more text messages. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, look, we have so much stuff going on. This whole battle continues. It's not just Iran. It's not just what's going on with these idiots getting arrested, and there's going to be more of them. The good and the bad about this whole thing is that whenever a Democrat gets arrested, it becomes big news, right? I immediately, as soon as, and I'm to blame. I get it. I'm part of the problem, but that is my job. My job is to point out the idiocy. And the catch-22 on the whole thing is, if a Democrat does something stupid, like attack an ICE agent at an ICE facility and get arrested, or go like bum rush the Secretary of Homeland Security and get arrested at her press conference, if Democrats do that kind of thing, I'm obligated to report on it, to tell you about it, to make fun of it, to highlight how dangerous these people are. Why? Because you need to know how dangerous these people are. Also, it helps my campaign and my numbers. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, when you do that, they do it all over. It's the copycat, right? The only reason why Alex Padilla went and got arrested yesterday is because he saw LaMonica McIver get arrested. And now you've got two of them getting arrested. And I guarantee there's Democrats somewhere right now plotting, how am I going to get arrested? How do I get trending on Twitter by getting arrested? What can I do to get arrested? I want to get arrested. That's what they're thinking right now. They're looking at the publicity. They're seeing how Padilla, trending now on X, Padilla. And they're like, ooh, they turn on the news, Padilla. Sure, he's lying on the ground with handcuffs on, but he's there. And there's no such thing as bad publicity to these people. So it's the exact same reason why Maxwell Frost, after Chris Van Allen went to El Salvador and came back empty-handed, Maxwell Frost and a bunch of other idiots were like, oh, you know what? Look at all the publicity he got. We should go. And they went, and they were even less important and less respected. And they got nowhere near Abrego Garcia. And so we were left with, a bunch of Democrats who we could just laugh at. And then they figured out we should probably stop, but they all got a little bit of publicity, not a lot, but a little bit. And a little bit of publicity for them, a lot of them is more than they've ever gotten. So that's what they're doing. They are off and they are planning and plotting. And what happens is, if the next person who gets arrested doesn't get the kind of publicity that Padilla and McIver did, then they're going to have to go to something else. And I shudder to think what's next on their list. I shudder to think the depths that they will sink to just to get a little bit of publicity for their lunatic causes. Listen, I'm headed to DC tomorrow. Tomorrow is, look at this. This is cool. This is video that I forget who posted it. Dan Scavino, I think, posted this. This is in DC. This is the troops getting ready. They're getting ready for the parade. We're marching, we're getting ready for the parade. Look at that. That's a small fraction of the troop deployment currently in Washington, D.C. There's also going to be tanks. There's going to be missile launchers. There's going to be a whole parade of military personnel and equipment. There's going to be helicopters flying around. There's going to be Lee Greenwood will be there. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Donald Trump's birthday, the 250th anniversary of the United States Army, Flag Day, so many things to celebrate. I'll be there tomorrow, and I'll be reporting live. Pardon me, I'll be bringing you all kinds of updates. You got to make sure, though, that you're subscribed to this channel. Definitely subscribe to the podcast. You definitely want to subscribe to the podcast page because I'll be podcasting all weekend long. YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. I'm going to be posting. Somebody said to me the other day, they go, I see you on Facebook. And I said, oh yeah, that's me. They go, no. I mean, like a lot. And I go, yeah, that's me. That's kind of my job. I'm even ramping it up. I was sitting the other day talking to a couple people about the upcoming campaign. I was like, you know what we need? And they said, what? I go, we need more. I need to post more stuff on Facebook. And they were like, really? And I go, oh yeah. And I go, have you ever gone on Facebook and not seen me? And they go, yeah, once or twice. I go, see, that's got to stop. That's got to stop. So anyway, like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, anywhere you see my face, make sure you're subscribed so that you continue to get this information. And like I said, I'm taking advantage of everything. If there's a military parade in honor of Donald Trump's birthday, I'm going to be there. If there's another celebration of some kind somewhere else, I'm going to be there. Whenever there's conservatism to be spread, I'm going to be there. And especially with this campaign, we're going to have a lot of events. In fact, next week, I'm going like 3 different places and I'm not going to be able to go live everywhere, but I've pledged to create some kind of video diary or vlog even, or just, this is how many people really, I mean, a lot, but how many people ever run for Congress and can document the entire thing step by step? Very few. I happen to be in that business. I happen to have the capability of running for office, trying to make America great again, trying to audit the Republican Party, making sure that we have America First fighters in place in 2026 when we need them there. I have the ability to do that and document the process so that if I win, or when I win, we can have a roadmap for other people. So anyway, so in 2026, when I win, and other people are like, holy cow, Mark Kaye, this podcaster from Jacksonville, Florida, fought and won and beat an incumbent, and now he's in Congress. They'll be like, how did he do it? I can go, oh, I've documented the entire process for you here on my YouTube channel, here on my Rumble channel, here on my Facebook page, so you can follow along. So definitely, like I said, make sure you subscribe because we want to make sure we get you all the information all the time. We want to make sure we get you everything you need to know. We want to make sure that you know how you can, wait a minute, that's the wrong page. Here it is. We want to make sure you know how you can help us, not just win in the campaign, but win every single day. Continue to come in here and do this show and bring you the information you need and bring you the energy and the excitement and the inspiration and the enlightenment, everything you need to make sure that you are continuing every single day to sharpen your skills, to prepare for battle, so that one day when you are called to fight, we will again win and continue to save the Republic. All right, I'm off to DC. I will be posting a podcast tomorrow morning. So wake up, download it, listen to it. It's going to be awesome. In the meantime, markkforcongress.com. If you would like to make a donation, markkforcongress.com.